trying to think the last time I actually been to work. Um, last time I've been to work was probably okay. So 10 days. Well, Friday was the last day of my permissive TDY, and then today is Tuesday, right? So Friday was 10 days. Um, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 13 days, almost 2 weeks, almost a full 2 weeks since I last been to work. And yeah, I'm going today with PT gear on. So where do they do that at? Wear PT gear to work. That would be, I think, with the Department of Defense and the Department of the Air Force's renewed focus on fitness, I think we should legitimately start doing that. Going to work with your PT gear on and getting out there at old dark 30, just like the Army does it. Because if we're going to have the Army's fitness standards, we might as well have the Army's fitness preparation. Now, we know the Army, the entire brigade, or I think it's brigade. Brigade is synonymous with wing. I'm not sure. But the entire brigade will be out there. And they will be getting after it. And I know there's this joke where, like, the warrant officers don't ever show up. I wonder, like, do the actual officers not show up either? But yeah, man, something strange has been going on with the live stream. So one time, I decided that I was going to do an unlisted, excuse me, an unlisted thing, just so I could kind of conscious stream my thoughts while I was house hunting. And I noticed after I did that, like, I did like 2 or 3 other live streams and nobody was showing up. And that was weird for me because, like, normally I would get a decent amount of views. And so I was like, did it somehow default into unlisted? Or is it just the content that I'm creating right now? Okay, all right, well, never mind. It's all right. Just as I was about to say that, 15 people show up. All right. Hi, good morning, everybody. My voice don't normally sound like this. Most of you guys are new, first-timers here. Thank you for joining. I'm riding to work. I usually do this when I'm running a class. I'm a professional military education instructor at the Squadron Officer School. Hello, Erica Turku. Michael Bird says hi. Sudi54 says hi. And so I normally do this, but so today I'm going to work, and my voice, last night I slept like garbage. My entire household is sick. I thought we had COVID or something. And so I took a COVID test last night, and it pretty much came out like immediately, like negative, you good. And so it's not the flu. I don't think it's the flu. I hope it's not the flu. Although I was initially sore. My baby has a fever. And so I guess it's a flu. Because I feel like you don't get flus. You don't get high temperatures or fevers with colds. I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know. I don't have a fever. I don't feel like it. But all of our symptoms progressed the same. It started with throat pain. No, maybe a little congested. Then we went to throat pain. And then the kids, like 2 of the kids actually vomited, which may or may not have been related. But only 2 of them vomited. And then it's just been a lot of mucus, a lot of congestion, and sore throat. Last night I was up all night with that baby. I wasn't up all night. I'm lying. My wife. Thank you for that thumbs up. Like, are you sick or something like that? Yeah, Mike. I think that's what it is. I'm sorry to hear that the flu is the worst thing you could have, because my sister had it before, and I was like mad because I didn't want my sister to have the flu. OMG. Yeah. And so I called my boss yesterday. I was supposed to come back to work on Monday. Ended up finding a house, so yay. But I was supposed to come back to come back to work on Monday, and start the whole out process and try to push things and move things along. And I wasn't able to, because Sunday night I was toasted. I was sick. I felt sick. I felt awful, but my throat wasn't necessarily hurting. I was just like soreness, malaise, and then the throat pain started. And so I'm pulling up to the gate now. So I'm gonna put y'all down right there, because obviously you should be hands free rolling through the gate. But yeah, this is the most difficult time for any assignment, because sometimes your expectations don't match up with your leadership's expectations. Now, I'm supposed to be leaving by September 1. That's when I'm trying to be pulling off from the base. Sayonara, thanks for everything, and heading to a new adventure. There's this thing where, like, people, when you leave, people be like, "Oh, you checked out." It's not that I'm necessarily checked out. Maybe I probably am a little bit, but really I'm so focused on trying to get the family landed at the next spot, and focused on getting myself aligned for success, that I have limited capacity of bandwidth at the previous unit. But the expectation basically for my squadron commander is keep working to the finish line. And all right, yeah, I get that. But when do I out process? Good morning. I'm good. He wasn't very happy. I got like distracted, low morale vibes from him. Normally I ask like, "What's going on? How you doing?" But his whole demeanor was like, "Keep it moving, Major." But yeah. So I was supposed to go do all of this, get back to work, and get everything situated, but I'm not doing any of that right now, because yesterday I called in sick, and today I am going to sick call. I let my boss and my DO know last night, like, hey, I'm gonna probably go ahead and check in with sick call, because I thought I was gonna be good to go for Tuesday to get everything started, but I'm not. The difficult thing right now for me to remain engaged, and it's a personal challenge for myself, is right now we are in a major curriculum shift with the guidance that has come down from SecDef and other stakeholders. The squad, oh shoot, it's closed. Oh no, is it? It can't be. It's not Thursday. They can't be closed. I'm just here early and nobody's here. Okay, cool. But yeah, so the guidance, our curriculum was inconsistent with the guidance that we received. And so basically our previous commandant was like, "Hey guys, we're going to come up with a whole entire new curriculum." Now, I love education. And I think that's probably going to be instructional education and instructional design. That's probably going to be my next career. Oh, that could be a next career after the Air Force. But I don't got it. I don't got it. It's like I'm not going to instruct another class in terms of leading the flight, and so my ability to grasp all of the material and be interested and to fully engage with it is just severely limited, and I just don't have sufficient motivation to get into it. I think a big part of it is I don't necessarily believe in it, what we're doing, because this is my probably a little bit of my neurodivergence. I struggle with change, but I don't struggle with change. I struggle with change that don't make sense. This change right now, it feels like we're making the plane as we're flying it. And there was this scene in the Lego movie where they were supposed to be trying to escape Lord Garmadon. I think that was, no, that's not his name. I'm mixing up Lego series. I ain't gonna get into it. Lord Business. They was trying to escape Lord Business, and so they were putting together this machine, and everybody's ideas was just going into it, and it just was this unwieldy process, and it ended up the best, or the working solution ended up being like what was considered stupidity at the time. He made a double decker couch, and it's like, why would you need a double decker couch? That's dumb. Like your legs is gonna be blocking the people. The legs on the top is gonna block the people on the bottom. That's stupid. Why would you do that? But it ended up that design ended up being like the solution, and this process that everybody came up with was a part of the problem. And that's what I feel like we doing with this curriculum. Like, it's a bunch of hands in it. It's a bunch of people saying, do this. The military would do this. The military should be like this. And the people on the bottom in the schoolhouse are just like bumping into each other. Clown show. Cue the music. Thank you for that. God bless you. I appreciate that. And God bless you too. It's like a clown show right now, and so I have low tolerance for fools. I'm challenged when it comes to suffering fools, and I feel like we got some foolishness going on, and so I'm struggling to get with it, and so I think that's my problem. And this is one of those times where you salute smartly, and you continue as directed, and you give your feedback until either the feedback is incorporated or until you're told stop giving feedback. Copy all, major press. But since I'm not running the flight necessarily, that's a challenge. And then a lot of this stuff is out of my wheelhouse. We used to do a lot of the touching and feely stuff. There was a big component of touchy-feely stuff that went into squadron officer school, and I think that's my specialty in terms of like leadership, interacting and engaging with people. That's the part where like, oh no, I could talk about this all day. Now you start talking about war fighting and the ins and outs of airfield operations and how we connect to operation support. I'm a weak link. I feel that way anyway. But when it comes down to the business of leading people, which I think is what you want from a squadron officer, you're not necessarily focused on that person being a master of their whatever. That's it's kind of not true. You're not necessarily focused on technical expertise as an officer, but you're more like, because you got technical experts in the enlisted corps, so you don't necessarily need to do that. But you should be proficient at your job. You should be good at what you do. But that's not really why the Air Force has you there. The Air Force has you there to lead the organization and follow and execute the vision and the mission. I said vision. I combine vision and mission together. I like vision. That's good. But vision and mission of your superior officers. And I think that's what the officers are supposed to do. And we also supposed to execute a little bit of mission command, which is, hey, I have the vision and the direction that you want to go. You don't need to tell me and give me a cookbook formula of how to get after it. You trust everything that you invested in me, all of the training. You allow me to execute that mission and execute the commander's intent. But that's a big part of where squadron officer school is going. It's going towards mission command, and I like that. Um, I can remember when it was three chief of staffs ago, maybe 2 or 3. The short guy, what's his name? Goldfein, General Goldfein. He came out with revitalizing the squadron, and revitalizing the squadron was like, it was like conservative, middle-aged white man philosophy of nobody is going to tell me how to do my job, or nobody's going to know how to do my job better than me. Nobody's going to know what is needed more than me. Like someone at a bureaucratic level, at some centralized command or some major command is going to know how to do my job better than I do. And that to me was a continuation of the whole states' rights argument. Or maybe you could find some type of linkage between those two ideas of like boots on the ground is going to know what's needed and not following a central or federal prescription. But the military is not designed that way. The military is this thing where literally there's somebody at the top, and that person is putting out the order, and you standardize across the military, across branches, across your services, and you give a standardized, maybe like everybody's mission is not quite the same, but it's the missions that are the same, they approach it like from a standardized perspective. And I don't agree with that. I really believe like one size doesn't fit all, because every situation is different. And so when General Goldfein was saying all of that stuff, he kind of adjusted some of my like political views. And I think a good part of the reason of why so many of military officers, and this wasn't what this vlog was about, but it just kind of went here. A good reason why so many military officers are conservative is because of the structure of the military. They beat that chain of command into our heads. That thing is like ingrained. Like you can wake us up at old dog 30 and we're going to execute, and we know what the chain of command is. We know what's appropriate, and we know what's not appropriate. And so I think because that's an institutional aspect of officers, it bleeds into other aspects of our lives. And so our political leanings a lot of times kind of align with that concept. But on the other hand, I can see now that for this institution, like if this is going to be, let me back up. The Squadron Officer School is like this, if we're comparing state to federal government, the Squadron Officer School is this federal entity. And we're teaching, or we're tasked with teaching every single captain in the active duty Air Force and getting this doctrine across to every military captain, where they're supposed to be this joint warfighter. They're prepared for this next joint warfare. And to that end, SOS is like this 6-week endeavor focused on pulling every AFSC that comes through the doors through a single gate of joint warfare and joint mindedness. And it almost feels like it shouldn't be called Squadron Officer School anymore, because we're not getting after producing squadron officers. So maybe a joint warfighter is a squadron officer, but I don't know. It don't seem like it's the same thing. And so I'm just confused, because what are we doing again? And why are we doing it? Because we're getting ready to go to war. And I can remember, like, when Iran almost kicked off World War III, and it might have. It might, like, it's not over. I mean, depending on what intelligence reports you believe in, open source, like, hey, like, all they got to do is go down there and go get the uranium. It's not like you did some type of chemical, I don't know what the opposite of enrichment or the reverse of enrichment is, but it's not like you did some process that reversed that. You just, like, physically separated them from the capability. But if they go back down there, because those isotopes take years and years and years and years and years to, like, break down, then just go get it. Pick it up and go get it and start back over. So, yeah. I think that's what it boils down to. Are we focused on just China? And should that be our focus? Or should we, what do we need to be doing? Because, all right, right now, you look at our commander-in-chief. Our commander-in-chief right now is, it seems that he wants to disassemble the federal government and to make it all about what each state wants. And when you think about the name of the country, that kind of makes sense, because it's called the United States of America. One state will get after whatever it is in a certain way that makes sense for them, and not be beholden to this entity in a location that's geographically separated, that may or may not be aware of the history, culture, and all of these things that go into why this state functions like it does. Thank you for that thumbs up. And so I just, that's the part that I'm struggling with. Our commander-in-chief, who is the number one at the top of the pyramid for the military, has this vision of, or is executing at least this vision of federal versus state. And he's leaving it up to the state, or that's what he's transitioning to. But here, Squadron Officer School is this federal entity that is tasked with telling each captain, or framing each captain across the Air Force into a joint warfighter. We're switching to this deployed combat wing construct that says your entire wing is going to get up and go to an area of operations. So if your entire wing, good morning, sir, What's up, Donnie? Hey, hey, one of the OGs. Um, if you're switching to, I lost it. If you're going to this new construct where your commander in chief says boots on the ground determine how it should be, then why is this institution continuing to exist? This institution being Squadron Officer School. If we like represent this federal level of like, hey, like you can't tell me what a joint fighter, warfighter needs to be for this particular wing. You don't know what we need. So how are you going to prepare? I guess we just give a overarching view of what the doctrine says, and then at the wing's job is to interpret this is what this wing, this is what that doctrine looks like at this wing executed. And so I don't know, I think of like figures. I guess because that's part of being in the military. They always do like these charts and things like that. And so I'm maybe I need a chart or something to understand it. But it just seems like this institution is not consistent with the commander in chief and kind of like the direction that he's moving. And so I don't know, do we downsize? Because it's all about efficiency, and not wasting. Fraud, waste, and abuse. There's a lot of waste. There's a lot of time that gets wasted at these levels. But anyway, that's another story for another day. It's 7:20. I'm about to mess around and talk myself out of sick call window. So let me go ahead and get these quarters so I can get myself some R&R and get back in the fight. Because I ain't really good to go right now. The medicine is going to leave my system and my throat going to start hurting again really bad. And I don't want to be here when that happens. So, all right. God bless y'all.